I'm back, and this time I'm going to talk about the heart of my research over 20 years of asking myself, what is normal? Who decides what is normal? What am I? Why am I here? All of these existential questions. Now, we know that over time through history, the American culture is pretty new, and the Western medical science does not account for cultural competency and does not recognize autistic culture as having any value to the mainstream scientific literature and way of seeing a group of people. So, in order for me to find a way to liberate the medical pathology paradigm and bring autistic culture into the spotlight, I had to find a new method and a new approach. So I spent a decade of researching qualitative and quantitative approaches, and I found Edmund Husserl's work on the crisis of European sciences. So 100 years ago, Husserl said that we must understand phenomenology is a study of consciousness or a way to measure what is not measurable in traditional science. We don't need to do autopsies. We don't need to train on cadavers. We don't need to train on disabled people. We are not garbage people in society. We don't need to create Willowbrook where people are in close contact in congregate living settings. That's not how we learn about autism. We learn about autism by qualifying the lived experience of the native autistic person. I am autistic and I have an indigenous experience, a lived experience that is native to my daily living. And when I want to explain this to somebody else, I am being told that I am maladaptive, I have deficits, I am medically a disease, maybe I'm a pandemic according to the CDC, or maybe COVID is a bigger pandemic than autism now, so that's maybe I'm not contagious anymore. So, moving to the next 10 years of research, autistic culture must be valued because we have a way to quantify the existence of the autistic person themselves. We have a method with which to collect data of these qualitative experiences. So I have the endorsement of Dr. Ronald J. Pekala, Pekala, and he spent 40 years researching and psychometrically validating the PCI. With his endorsement, I adapted it for the use of evaluating an altered state of consciousness at the moment of when the experience of alteration is occurring or has just occurred. So I presented the PCI first to my peers. My very, very valuable student, Nicolas Joncour, of course, I will have his link to his profile in the comments. Please follow his work. He's young and up and coming, and in Europe, he is leading the self-advocates who are non-speaking and are AAC users who are being devalued and threatened with institutionalization. So the uprising has begun, and we are now looking at a very powerful tool, in Nico's words, that can spur this revolution, start the movement of change. The idea of rebellion, the idea of we the people have the voice, we the people have the knowledge. So, what is the PCI and how can I use it? And what are the applications for it? Well, the PCI is a personal consciousness inventory. You go into 53 items on an Excel sheet that is free and available for you to use. And when you score it, you have items on the left and items on the right, and you enter the score in the center column. So that is column D for dog. And you have options of 3 being neutral, and as you move move to the item on the left, you have to score it with intensity. If you say, I feel like, that idea, it closely aligns to my experience, then you put a 2. If you feel like it, pretty much basically describes your experience at this current time, you put a 1. Now, if it describes perfectly what you're experiencing, that's a 0, right? So 0 is closest to that side. And then on the other side column, of course, no, I did not have the experience of feeling my body move outside my skin so that I become one with the universe. If you did not have that experience, you simply score how much you didn't have that experience. Did you have, no, I didn't really feel it, that's a 4. Yeah, I really, really didn't know that my body was moving out towards the universe, so that's a 5. 6 means, oh, no, absolutely. I did not have that experience. So with these 53 items, we can reveal to you a profile that is personalized, that showcases how unique you are in your experience on the spectrum of alterations. What if altered states of consciousness doesn't mean a mental illness? What if being altered means that, thank God, I am not the neurotypical? What if meaning altered is a symbol for me to say, I celebrate my alterations and I want to show you in pictorial way, or I want to show you in a beautiful fractal of all the 4 dimensions of my existence. I want to show you in bar charts. I want to show it to you in any way that can qualify the quantification of my conscious existence. So without further ado, AGP stands for Able Grounded Phenomenology, and it is the result of my dissertation research. You can write to me and ask me for my dissertation. You can look for me on Google Scholar, scholar.google.com, type in my name. If the spelling is recommended that's a good idea. You can find my research, and of course you can go to hennyk.com. My recommendation is that by the next 24 hours, you will be able to go to agpmodel.com and immerse yourself in the experience of quantifying your consciousness so that you can qualify your lived experience to the world around you. If you are situated in a non-autistic world and you're experiencing oppression and your existence has been colonized and you just don't have the freedom to say, I am what I am, now we have a tool for you to showcase to the world. And if you're a clinician and you want to know how to administer this, I will gladly train you. I will be having workshops and seminars, and I have presented in Brazil today. So we had a translator because no fala português, and I had somebody translating, and of course there were more than 100 professionals in the call, and the applications for this instrument, the PCI, were very simple. It was a client comes to you after witnessing a car accident and they're in shock, and you want to capture the experience of the horror and the grief, and you want them to be able to find statements that aligns to their experience without having the burden of finding traditional words or communicating in a spoken manner. The other application would be if you are a therapist and you are working with an autistic person, you need to survey them. You need to ask them, how are they feeling about the experience of today's session? We don't need long-term iatrogenic effects, medical treatments designed to cure or normalize autistic children, but at the same time, it strongly correlates with PTSD. We don't need more of that. We need more clinicians to ask for feedback from their clients so that they can understand that the client, and to value that the client has a lived experience and that they have a way to describe it. And if they're an AAC user, they can simply score themselves by touching a number on a letterboard, or they can, if they can use any device or computer to type in the numbers on the document, the pictorial representation is immediately programmed. So this is a free tool courtesy of Dr. Ronald J. Pekala, and with his best wishes, now adapted to be an instrument of a personal consciousness inventory. You don't need to share your results with anybody, but if you do have a screen capture you want to share below, it would be wonderful if you do the hashtag AGP model, and I want to see the fractal representation of your lived experience. I want to see the metapixels. I want to know exactly what kind of person you are. Are you a person who has vivid imagery but brings this imagery to the multi-dimensional world that you live in a eyes closed type or a non-dialoguing type? What form of medium are you? Are you a witch? Are you a shaman? Are you a normal person? Are you a person who is on a spectrum of alterations? Let's start this conversation. And if you want me to bring this information to your clinic, to your team, to your institute, the curriculum is ready, the research is in place, and this is a psychometrically validated instrument thanks to the hard work of Dr. Pekala. Thank you, Melissa, for your comment. You say, awesome, thanks for sharing. I'm a licensed MFD marriage family therapist, and this tool seems very interesting. It is extraordinary to have rolled this out. The first rollout to Nico was on Wednesday. Today is Friday, 2 days later, and in this time between Nico's feedback, who he said, I found it fantastic, and then he also said through his AAC he typed, this is a extraordinarily powerful tool for a revolution. Viva la revolución, huelga. Let's stand up and say it like it is. All you need to do is put some numbers in an instrument. So let's rock. I want to see your scores. It's personal, but you might want to make it public because I think some people are extraordinary, and a pictorial representation of their lived experience as it is critical for future research. So we need to honor the indigenous experience of the autistic person who is native to the colonization of living amongst a non-autistic society. And in order for our culture to be valued, we have to qualify it for the rest of the world. So thank you, and please remember AGP Model. AGP it stands for Able Grounded Phenomenology. We ground the phenomenon of my existence in my abilities, not my disabilities. This is the only way we should classify ourselves. The phenomenon of my existence is based on what I can do, what I want to do, what I am involved with, what I have accomplished, not what the doctor says, oh, you can't read from left to right. Well, oops, sorry. Or you can't speak without a script. Sorry, you have a deficit. You are maladaptive. I will no longer accept that explanation for my worldview. I am autistic, and I have a right to be autistic, and I have a right to share my profile of abilities. So the AGP model is here to go. And for now, if you go to agpmodel.com, it goes to my hennyk.com website. And if you want a preview of the AGP model, you can sneak peek hennyk.com/AGP, Able Grounded Phenomenology. The future is here, and I'll see you on the other side.